When I pushed open the heavy wooden doors of the courtroom, the sound echoed like a warning, but it wasn't as loud as the feeling that punched through my chest when I saw my parents sitting there, perfectly calm, perfectly confident, and rolling their eyes the moment their gaze landed on me. My own mother lifted her hand dramatically to her forehead, whispering something to my father that made him smirk, as if my very existence was an inconvenience they had been forced to endure. For a second, I froze because no matter how old you get, no matter how many walls you build, seeing your parents dismiss you like you're nothing still hits the deepest, most painful nerves. I swallowed hard, tightened my fist around the thin file I had spent months preparing, and walked toward the plaintiff's table. The courtroom smelled of polished floors and old paper, a cold blend that always made me feel like truth and lies were equal weapons here, and only the one who fought harder survived. My lawyer leaned toward me and whispered, "You're doing great. Don't let them intimidate you." But intimidation was a lifetime wound for me. My parents had spent years convincing everyone around us that I was dramatic, sensitive, unstable, whatever fit their narrative that day. Whenever I spoke up about their neglect, their manipulation, the financial abuse, they labeled me ungrateful. When I asked why they had emptied my college fund, they told relatives I was a troublemaker who couldn't handle responsibility. And when I left home, they told the world I was a rebellious child who abandoned good, loving parents. They never expected me to gather enough evidence to bring them here. But I had, and the moment the judge entered the room, the shift was immediate. Everyone stood, including my parents, both of them pretending to be the picture-perfect, supportive family. As soon as the judge sat, my father placed a supportive hand on my mother's shoulder and whispered loudly enough for the people behind them to hear, "I just hope she finally gets the help she needs." I clenched my jaw. The judge glanced between us, reading faces with the experience of someone who had seen too many families crumble in rooms like this. When the hearing began, my parents' lawyer delivered a speech dripping with fake concern, painting me as a confused young woman who had been influenced by outsiders, someone who misunderstood simple parental decisions, someone whose emotional instability made her imagine harm that wasn't there. My mother dabbed her eyes with a tissue she didn't need. My dad nodded solemnly at every line, as if he regretted bringing a child like me into the world. Then the judge turned to me. "Miss," he said kindly, "you may speak now." My throat tightened, because how do you explain years of subtle cruelty? How do you prove the bruises that weren't physical but still bled inside you for decades? I took a breath so deep it felt like pulling air through iron. "Your Honor," I said, and my voice echoed, steady but trembling under the weight of everything I carried. My parents didn't come here for the truth. They came here to maintain the image they've built their whole lives. My parents shifted immediately, my mother looking offended, my father shaking his head slowly like I had disappointed him yet again. But this time, I had something they couldn't refute. I slid a USB across the table. The judge gestured for the clerk to play the files. First came the recordings, my mother mocking me with friends, calling me useless, a burden, wishing she had only one child instead of me. Then my father's voice cold and calculating, discussing how he transferred my college funds into his business account, saying she blamed herself anyway. She always does. The courtroom fell silent as the audio played. My parents froze, their faces drained of color. The judge lowered his glasses, staring at them with disbelief so sharp it cut the air. "Do you deny these voices are yours?" he asked. My parents opened their mouths at the same time, then closed them. For the first time, the confidence they had worn like armor began to crack. Then the judge turned to me, eyes steady, voice firm, tone shifting from polite to protective. "I have been on the bench for 22 years, he said slowly, and rarely have I seen a child come to court with this much evidence against their own parents. What you've shown here is vision. Rival. My breath caught. My parents looked stunned, as if the judge himself had betrayed them. The judge leaned back, studying them like they were a puzzle he suddenly understood. I would like to know, he continued, why you two behave this way toward your daughter. Because from what I have heard so far, it appears she was the only honest person in this room. And just like that, my parents' faces changed. Not to guilt, not to shame, but to fear, the kind of fear that only appears when liars realize their lies have finally run out. My parents exchanged a look, one of those silent, coded glances I had witnessed my entire childhood, the kind they used when they needed to quickly decide on a version of the truth before speaking. My mother sat up straighter, smoothing imaginary wrinkles in her dress, while my father cleared his throat in that authoritative way he always used to control the room. But this courtroom wasn't his living room, and the judge wasn't a neighbor or relative who would be charmed by their theatrical helplessness. The judge stared at them with an expression that made even me shiver slightly. But for the first time in years, the shiver wasn't fear, it was justice cracking open. My father leaned forward with a forced sigh, as if the whole situation had been created by my misunderstanding, and said, "Your Honor, our daughter has always been emotional. She records private family conversations without context. We were trying to help her, but she..." He stopped because the judge held up a hand, something he didn't do often. "Sir," the judge said, his tone suddenly sharp, "your daughter recorded you admitting to taking her college funds without her permission. What context are you referring to? Please enlighten me." My father's lips parted, but nothing came out. My mother tried next, clutching her tissue dramatically. "We sacrificed so much for her," she began, but the judge cut her off again, this time with a tone that was almost incredulous. "And yet," he said, pointing to the screen that still displayed the paused audio waveform, "the only thing I have heard today is how much you belittled, manipulated, and financially harmed the child who trusted you." My mother looked like she had been slapped, not because she felt guilt, but because she wasn't used to being challenged. She turned to my father as if he would suddenly find a brilliant excuse to fix everything. But the judge wasn't finished. "Miss," he said, turning to me, "do you have anything else you want to present?" My hands trembled as I opened the last folder, the one I had debated including, the one that held the truth I feared the most, the one that explained why I'd walked away from home forever. "Your Honor," I said quietly, "I want to submit this timeline. It shows years of financial control, emotional abuse, coercion, and threats disguised as parental guidance." I tried to leave multiple times, but my voice cracked. They always found a way to pull me back. The judge looked at the document slowly, his brows tightening with each page he turned. When he finally finished, he placed the folder down with a controlled exhale, the kind that tells you someone is deeply disturbed but trying to remain professional. "Mr. and Mrs., he said, his tone like steel wrapped in ice, "this behavior is not parenting. This is psychological imprisonment." My parents looked like they had stopped breathing. My father's jaw tightened. My mother's fingers dug into her tissue until it tore. The judge continued, "I am ordering a full financial audit, an investigation into the misuse of funds, and mandatory counseling before either of you contact your daughter again." My parents jolted as if he had announced a prison sentence. In a way, he had, a prison made of truth, accountability, and consequences, things they had escaped their entire lives. But then something unexpected happened. My mother snapped. Her mask dropped so fast it was almost audible. "You ungrateful child," she screamed, rising to her feet. "After everything we have done for you, you drag us to court? You ruin our reputation? You think anyone will ever believe you now? Everyone will know what you've done, everyone." The courtroom guard stepped forward, but the judge raised his hand. "Let her speak," he said. "She is revealing more than any evidence ever could." My mother's face twisted with pure rage, the real face I had grown up seeing in private. "You were always weak," she hissed. "Always difficult. Always a burden. We gave you a home, food, education. You stole her education," the judge snapped. "You stole her autonomy. And now, with every word you say, you are proving exactly why she is here today." My father grabbed my mother's arm, not out of love, but out of panic. He whispered harshly, "Stop, you're making it worse." But the judge had already seen enough. "This court finds in favor of the plaintiff," he said firmly, his voice echoing with finality that made the entire room still. "All financial assets taken from her without consent must be returned. Additionally, any contact from the defendants must be supervised until further notice." My parents' mouths opened in shock, but no sound came out. The judge added with an expression that felt almost personal, "And let me be absolutely clear. The only person in this courtroom who deserves protection today is your daughter." For the first time in my life, someone in authority had stood up for me. Someone had seen through them. Someone had believed me. As the decision settled over the room like a shifting tide, my parents stared at me, not with love, not with regret, but with a dawning realization that their control over my life was finally slipping through their fingers. The guards led them out as my mother kept whispering my name, first angrily, then frantically, like she couldn't understand how her power had evaporated. But I just sat there, breathing for what felt like the first time in years. When the judge gathered his files and stood to leave, he paused, turning back to me. "You're stronger than you think," he said quietly, with sincerity that made my chest ache. "Don't let anyone convince you otherwise." And as I walked out of that courtroom, under the sunlight that poured through the tall glass doors, I realized something I never felt before. Freedom wasn't a dream or a destination. Destination was a moment. And this moment finally belonged to me.